I'm making this video to just share my thought process as things stand right now and why I feel the way that I do. These ideas are evolving and changing, as is the social media and digital landscape at an incredible pace, really. So none of what I'm saying here is permanent, but I really have spent a lot of time thinking about this. I see a ton of people migrating over to TikTok this year. This has been a huge year for TikTok, and I am absolutely not one of those people. There's a real pressure, I think, in the content creation world to keep up with what's going on and to stay with the curve. It feels like everybody has spoken about the mythical TikTok algorithms and how easy it is to, make material that then blows up and leads to you getting discovered. And there are definitely a lot of case studies and examples of people that have successfully used the platform. So I'm not saying that that's not possible. And also, let me add that TikTok is clearly a major player now and not going anywhere. Now, there are 3 reasons I want to go through for why I'm choosing not to get on TikTok at this point in time. And the cringiness is not one of them, okay? I know that's a very commonly cited reason. I think it's a valid one, first of all. There's no shortage of cringy material on there, that's for sure. But that's not one of my reasons, because I've had more than one friend explain to me that if you give it enough time, the algorithms will adapt to your preferences and stop showing you teenagers that are dancing to, like, whatever. And in all honesty, really I have nothing against dance videos on TikTok. I love dancing when I'm happy and I feel good and I'm listening to great music. And I'm not against posting that on the internet. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around watching something like that for hours on end. But once again, I recognize and I understand that TikTok is so much more than that. So that's why this is not one of the reasons that I'm going to use in my case against TikTok. Okay, so here are my reasons. And for the record, once again, this is not permanent. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. I might try and find, hire somebody who can take this on for me or something along those lines. I'm not sure. But I know that for right now, I'm pretty solid in my philosophy that this is not worth my time and energy at this point in time. So first of all, the experience. The experience on TikTok I find it overwhelming. You are constantly getting bombarded. And this is by design, right? The material on there, I think the videos last up to a minute. So every content creator has to grab your attention as soon as possible. And this is happening on a minute by minute basis, and it's in your face. I feel like I've always had a little bit of an issue with people that constantly flip through channels. I guess that doesn't happen anymore, and I haven't really watched TV in years. But for example, not letting a song end and constantly flipping through songs. I find that can sometimes be a little bit irritating, and that's what TikTok feels like to me. It's I'm not even allowed to finish a thought before the next one's up in my face. And, I guess it's sort of a mixture of the content that's on there, the material that's on there, and the design of the app that I just find really kind of, I don't want to use the word obnoxious, but it's just intense. And believe me, I've tried. I've downloaded the app on a couple of occasions now to really just feel it out for myself. And I don't know, I would always end up with this sort of sinking feeling in my stomach. Now, the second reason is related to the format, which I find restrictive. And I think this requires a little bit of explanation because in reality, when you look at TikTok, what they've done is brilliant. They've actually taken the bar of entry and lowered it to pretty much the lowest you could possibly go, right? To the point where just about anybody, truly anybody, can pick up the app and within a few minutes have created a video and post it online. So in that sense, they've done something that seems non-restrictive. But this is precisely the problem. And what this has done is incentivize this sort of approach of shitting out material, and constantly pumping it out. And the goal here, the objective, is to make material that's short and consumable. Now, the problem here for me personally is that I like to go in depth into my ideas. I feel like I need time to get to the point, to build to where I want to go. A lot of the time, I'm sharing how I feel, and that's not something that can be rushed. I'm taking you on a journey with me. And I'm not saying it's not possible in 15 to 60 seconds, but it's a very different kind of experience, and one that, generally speaking, is just a lot more superficial. That's just the reality of it, right? You have certain time limitations. I'm not saying there isn't any creativity on there. There's a ton. I think there are people doing some really cool things on the app with those sort of creative restrictions. But what I have found in my experience of using the app is that in general, and I really like this analogy, it just feels like you're consuming these empty calories. I don't know if this is applicable here exactly, but it's sort of like just watching the trailer of a movie instead of the movie itself. There's a much smaller bar of entry, right? It's not a big time commitment to spend 2 minutes sort of getting the gist of a movie. But are you taken on the full adventure? Are you taken on the full journey? Not at all. Not even a little bit. You know, it's just supposed to give you an idea of what you can potentially experience by going to see the movie. I don't know. I just felt like you're not allowed to stick to an idea for very long. And you're always either being bombarded by new material or quantitative measurements associated with that material. So that could be like number of likes or a number of comments or whatever. And you're sort of always seeing what's working, what isn't working, what's blowing up, what isn't blowing up. And I don't know, I got this sort of feeling that I was sucked into a hurricane. And my third reason here is that I don't think being on this platform, being on TikTok, would bring the kinds of rewards that it promises. Not for somebody like me. And I know this is just personal to me, but let's imagine I join the platform and I start to make really short form material, which is not at all what I'm making right now, and not like how I like to express my ideas and put stuff out there. So getting on TikTok would mean I obviously need to play to their rules, right? They've set the rules. It's their house, their rules. And what I think that would end up doing is attracting a different kind of audience for this different kind of material. What it would do, I think, long term is suck me further into TikTok and away from the projects that I'm focused on right now. That's the thing. This is ultimately a question of time and energy investment. And the more time I spend on there, hypothetically speaking, the less time I have to spend in other areas of my life, doing other things that I think would feel a lot more fulfilling. And that's really important to me. I have these really limited resources that I want to maximize as much as I can. I've seen people try to build an audience on there, and it doesn't necessarily translate onto other platforms with other formats. So while I do sometimes feel a little bit of the FOMO, right? Where I'm like, oh no, am I missing this incredible opportunity to ride the wave and enjoy these incredible algorithms and, get access to new people and get discovered and whatnot. I think a large part of that is not even real. It's not based in reality. It's shiny objects that are distracting. And I don't think it would contribute to my long-term goals. And that's ultimately where this decision comes from. There are certain objectives I'm working towards, certain things that bring me fulfillment that I'm really focused on and that I want to stick with. I'm not confident that TikTok would help me get there. I actually think TikTok has the potential to be a major distraction for a lot of people. There's a real possibility that down the road, I might look back on this thought process, on this decision that I'm making here, and think to myself, you know what, I was wrong. I should have jumped on earlier. And I'm open to that possibility. I'm not attached to any ideas here that I have found the answer and that's it. I just think that this does not feel like a good use of my time and energy, and I'd much rather commit a lot of that time and energy, or all of that time and energy, to other things like streaming or long form podcasting or something along those lines. I'm really curious what you guys have to say on all of this. So, on the topic of internet activity, this video is sponsored by NordVPN. Whatever you do on the internet, we're getting to the point where it doesn't make sense to not have a VPN, which I'm going to talk about in very layman's terms because I've never been a super technical guy. But basically, it makes it so that your computer looks like it's operating in a different spot in the world, and that offers a variety of benefits. First of all, security, especially if you're on public Wi-Fi. I would be really careful. A VPN is almost like an added layer of protection, but it also has other benefits, like giving you access to material, content on platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime that are only available in other countries. I've been using that trick for a few years now to get access to movies and TV shows in other languages, like French, for example, or Italian more recently. This alone has made it so worth it to me. Not only is the selection different, but you can get the same movies dubbed in different languages or with different subtitles. And that can be really useful for a language nerd like myself. So I'll give you an example. Here in France, on Netflix, you have access to Mission Impossible 4 and 5. And in Italy, if I use a VPN, you can get access to 1 through 6, all the ones that are out right now, whereas none of those are available on Netflix in the United States. So just think about that for a second. Without a VPN, I wouldn't have access to any of them if I were in the US. And here in France, only 2 of them. But all 6 if I have a VPN, or if I happen to be in Italy. I got NordVPN 3 years ago and I've really enjoyed using it. It doesn't really cause me any issues, which is like the most important point, and it doesn't really slow down my internet either. So you can get NordVPN for 68% off right now, and every purchase of a 2-year plan gets you 4 months for free. Just go to nordvpn.com/nobackupplan and use the code nobackupplan at checkout. I will link to that in the description below. Big thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you guys for clicking and watching. And I'll see you guys soon.